Well, that's made the geopolitical situation more complicated than I would like to see. We will boost our carriers a bit. Get carrier 3, which apparently the British have in droves already. And probably focus on building capital ships with much higher, well, capacity. A much higher capacity. We need our ships to have planes beyond comprehension. Otherwise, we will not be able to enter into Britain. However, it seems that our new Panzer Force is almost ready. And we'll... I didn't want to do that. I shouldn't have done that. We'll throw them onto Rommel. And we'll also begin training more Schnellpanzers at a rate of 4. Be a long time before our tanks are ready again. We are planning it properly, right? Yep. Upgrades first. Ooh. Reinforcements first. Don't know why we had it on upgrades. I guess some more destroyers. Why not? Having an empire across the globe has the small disadvantage of having to actually exert control over those areas. And that means sending not only soldiers, but also tax collectors and other vermin. And they need tax collection forms, and those need to be sent all the way from Germany. Better prepare for that. Well... Now that we have the capabilities to send tax collection forms, we need a harbor with the capabilities required. The harbor of Singapore is the busiest in the Eastern Hemisphere, with the German ships on their way to the AOG, Australasian steadily bound, and the occasional American or Russian. Commerce is good, we should expand the harbor. Sure. Then after that we get to do a treaty with Hawaii. Ooh. And we can strike at the Panama Canal. Let's avoid those last two. I have enough on my plate rather than, well, doing this nonsense. We will listen to Raideer, so we can get a bonus to carriers. This is done at, say, the excessive ocean going and actively controlling the seas. Our fleets should strive for large, decisive battles. So rather than supporting submarines, he's supporting other things, namely battleships. Did I say battleships? I meant submarines. Raideer, or Donitz was the one who supported submarines in real life, right? Yeah. Raideer have been thinking of mobile air bases through aircraft carriers. Interesting. Well, there's nothing we can do in the south here. We might have to help Austria out of its misery in a minute here. Maybe. Yeah, why do we need to reclaim Gibraltar? It was never ours. What? So we want to do a monopoly for Krupp. Because if I recall correctly, that was the juiciest looking option. And that gives us, yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. That gives us the ability to have the broadest range of everything. Oh boy. More air bases, bomber group doctrine, yada yada. We might just go to army training after this. I'll take a look again in a minute. We will send in this guy. We want our good carriers. Turn off allied battle times because this is beginning to give it a bit. Okay. Now this is something I was beginning to get worried about. And the worry has arrived. Now, failing to advance onto actual German soil, yeah, the French are strong. What I mean to say here is France has advanced successfully onto German soil. They are in Bavaria, and they're doing quite a job here. However, we will remove the forces here and put them to Germany itself for the purpose of actually beginning to secure air superiority over France. It seems Sweden has expanded. Good thing I have Trondheim still. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's great for me. I get to keep Trondheim forever now. However, a nation just ceased to be existing before my eyes. Unless, yeah, no, they just brought him back. Still ruled by Vidkun Quisling. Oh boy. That didn't solve a thing. Sure, Sweden, I'll accept dudes. Yeah. Yeah, Rommel, buddy old pal. Rally your units. We have a major problem. We will support Radier. Atomic research finished, which is fantastic. We will go to reactors ahead of time. We're going to strike across the river because we don't have a beachhead, much to my chagrin. We'll attack from multiple directions because that's what we need to do in order to properly get through here. Thankfully, the French are suffering quite horribly from out of supply penalties. Actually, I have no idea what's going on here. They're way out of everything. We will begin to try and contest air superiority over the French themselves now. We have many more planes now, somehow. It's actually odd. Normally the AI... Well, I guess that's the Allied powers. Normally get unlimited planes because, well, they're the Allied powers. They control all of the oil and rubber in the world. It's kind of easy to have an advantage there when you control everything. However, it seems that we have secured Bavaria for our own people. Once again, for our nation. At least most of it. Still one or two provinces that are in Cindy hands. The evil, evil syndicalists. We will continue to boost our... let's do more plane. We're actually going to have some decent-sized aerial offensives into the territories over here, and I'm afraid to say I think we've reached the limit of what we can do here. We have taken Austrian territory now, which is interesting. It's mountains. There's not much we can do. But I think we have crossed a river. Well, without our planes, of which we only have 10 Stuka. Kind of sad considering, oh, we don't have any more. Who would have guessed? Ooh, and we were, oh, I know what happened. We were importing a bunch of oil from California, and since we kind of went to war with them, they don't feel so kindly about Germans buying their oil. Gotcha. That makes a ton of sense. However, I think it's time to begin testing the French defenses here. They're beginning to put some strain on us, and never mind, they are being silly. Or the Austrians pushed them out of here. Of which then Austrians are taking my country. Don't like that, Austria? I guess it's liberation nonetheless. Why were these guys faster? You're actually in the same province. Regardless, Dunkirk will be a better strike point because it is more open. So instantly we can see that the enemy can pierce our armor. And the fort is putting a major hamper on our offensive. It is a level 6 fort here. We were able to break down one bit of it very quickly, I might add, which is impressive. We will upgrade our cannons to the more modern type now that we have that capability. New destroyer fleet. It's not a focus. Oh, we need to go down this. Gotcha. Okay. I guess we'll research Raider stuff. And figure out a way to secure our nation again, because this is of mild concern, as one would imagine. I suppose since we are in that position of the game now, we'll begin mass building infrastructure across our constituent territories. Oh, that's really good game design, guys. So, something I hadn't realized until just now is all of the units that were supposed to be defending against the French moved to defend against the Austrians. It would be really nice if the game took into account when they're switching up your front lines if you're actually at war with someone. That'd be nice. So now I just lost Munich, or the majority of Oberbayern, and I can't dislodge the French because they're super boosted. Which, to be fair, I wanted. I have a decryption advantage. So this is awkward. We're gonna have to basically bomb them out of our own country. Alrighty, so... Okay, that's interesting. I'm assuming our allies went down this path, which is why everything's so boosted. Bavaria is suffering greatly as a result of this, the shenanigans. Fall of Vienna. Okay. We're gonna consolidate Lieb into... We're gonna consolidate these two armies together and put Crown Prince Wilhelm in charge. We are preparing for the worst case scenario in which Austria-Hungary falls to Syndicalist forces. Not exactly what I expected, but it's happening. And we don't want to lose too many men on fruitless advances, so I will have a holding order put back into effect. Yeah, Sedentog. We only have 56 Stukas. I am beginning to feel a bit nervous, so I'm willing to put a reckless attack against Gamlin here, with the hopes that the tanks are going to be able to bludgeon through the 6 levels of fort. And with hopes of expediency in this, we are also going to throw in the infantry. This is going to be a bloody battle, and it might be a battle we lose. However, it's a battle that needs to be fought. If we're able to break through the forts here in Dunkirk, we can swing around like in the First Weltkrieg and strike Paris. The fall of Paris, the Communards are going to have a much more difficult time in keeping their nation secure. The Ottoman Empire is justifying on Greece. Hey, we're gonna have all the family back together again. The band's gonna be back together again. Huh. Okay. Put Kluge back in charge of the situation. The French are outflanking us through the Balkans. Poland seeks Polotsk, even closer into our sphere of influence, which has been largely exchanged for Western claims. They hold another Polish region we control if we agree. That's 1 million men. Is it a core state? It is a core state. I'm sorry, Poland. I really like you and all these things. However, you asked me to do that during a war. A war that we are not doing well in. Most of the heavier panzer forces have been forced to disengage by this point. And we were unsuccessful in our little gambit there. We're going to have to wait until the Stukas are in the air. And we are going to deploy them earlier than I initially would have liked. So, we have here 98 support planes, of which we're going to put into a stack of 200. And it seems we are unable to maintain air superiority over France. You know, this is going to be a lot more difficult than I initially intended. Well, since we can't really use them over here, I suppose, I'll move them over to the Austrian front when they're done. And try and see if we can do something in that regard. Move there, and one of you guys move to the Alpine region. Huh. Well, eventually your goal is to do that. Oof. The Europa class is ahead of time, so we will avoid it for now. I didn't think Austria-Hungary would be this bad. Okay. Well, we can just force the French to cede their airspace by sheer force of planes, which we will begin to embark upon now. Not in this airport, in this one. No. These two flights will be the Hail Mary. Serbia capitulated, which is disconcerting to say the least. However, I'm surprised they held up for this long, to be entirely honest. We have secured the air in France again, which makes me hopeful that we can do our little coup. So we will begin our offensive once more into Dunkirk. We have some air support here, which is actually beginning to do some nice work. We will do air superiority efficiency. Bulgaria capitulated, Albania capitulated. Excuse me. My voice was getting a little hoarse. And we might want to begin considering building some mechanized. We will be able to hold a line here, I'm more than confident to say. And the Austrians seem to be beginning to roll back the French. Probably a great loss of life to them. And yeah, as such, the French seem to have given up many of their more ambitious plans, and the air support has been instrumental in securing our victory here. With the fall of Dunkirk, that allows Rommel to advance well into the French territory. And I believe this will be the turning point in the longest war in German history. Well, actually, that's a lie. The First Weltkrieg was quite a bit of a mess. We will try and encircle any men that we can in the Dunkirk region. And in honor of this, we will... why are you part of the Crown Prince's army? Oh, yeah. 48 divisions. Since we're beginning to see some victory here, we are going to assign... You? No, not you. Why do you still have units? Probably over here. There we go. Apparently this guy. This guy is getting fired, and his units are being pulled towards the French front. And while we are beginning to see concerning news in the east, the Western forces should give us a nice sigh of relief today. We finally made a breakthrough. The French are beginning to fall back in all corners, and we should be crossing the River Meuse, I think this is. Rommel is leading the way towards saving the day. Granted, as a result of the extensive fortifications that both we and the French have built, breaking through the The new Ludendorff line has proven to be impossible for our French friends to do. However, breaking through the French defensive line has also proven as equally difficult for us. We will try and make advances where we can, but Paris is as unguarded as we can hope for it to be. And securing Paris will signal the end of this war, I hope. The addition of new units and the inability for the French to properly deploy new reserves thanks to our quickly advancing tanks. I knew that would have been a better idea. The northern parts of France are beginning to see a lot of damage. More in the sense of they no longer have people defending them properly. The offensive capabilities of their nation have fallen quite far. As well, a lot of planes, I think the defensive forces, not defensive forces, but the offensively oriented planes that we're seeing here are not so much Francophone as they are British. And we are going to move with our reserves being moved down here to closer to the front. We have a very clear estimation of where we want to go now. Though it seems that we are cursed in both, not just the first, but the second Weltkrieg, to be taunted ever so close to Paris. Our trucks, however, we want to be moving along the north. The fall of Singapore to the Japs and the Kingdom of Place. That is unfortunate, but not unexpected. The French have lost a considerably greater number of men. Since this offensive began. I'm not sure if it's as a result of our improving war situation or just the sheer fact that French men are being sacrificed in every corner in the name of their syndicalist views. Yeah, tanks are making a deep impact on them. I think our goal should be to encircle and deny them of any capability of counterattacking. Or not counterattacking, but having such a large salient in our own territory. Well, I suppose in our own is a strong term. We will begin attacking the rear, no, the front, with the hopes that our tanks can advance fast enough that we can properly attack the forts from both sides, which makes them, as one would expect, vastly... Sorry, my throat is killing me today. Well, not really. It's periodically dying. Which is tragic when you're doing a recording. This, unfortunately, might not fall as one might expect. However, there's a juicier target to the north. Yeah.